I welcome you all to this course on energy audit and management. Today we'll start the new chapter, that is energy efficiency in electrical utilities. So students, today's lecture will be on the Basic Electricity Act 2003, and then we'll study electric bill in detail. So first, let us start with the Electricity Act. So in India, prior to Electricity Act 2003, the electricity supply industry or power industry in India was governed by three enactments. The first one is the Indian Electricity Act 1910. The act gave the basic framework for the industry, and it envisaged growth through private licenses and provided for licenses to supply a specified area. The second Electricity Supply Act 1948, after independence, this act mandated the creation of state electricity boards, in short called as SEBs, with the responsibility of managing the electricity supply in the state. So the Electricity Act 1948 mandated to create the electricity boards in respective states, and it's the sole responsibility of these state electricity boards to manage the electricity supply in the respective states. The Electricity Regulatory Commission Act 1998, after a long time, you can say after 50 years, this Electricity Regulation Commission came into existence, and this act created the Central Regulatory Commission, in short called as the CRC or RC, and gave the legal framework for creating state regulatory commissions. So this Electricity Regulatory Commission is one step ahead, that it creates some regulatory commissions which will look after the tariff fixation and all this stuff. So prior to Electricity Act 2003, these three acts predominantly use or predominantly are the base for electricity supply and its regulation. So let us see the total Indian power, the Indian power sector scenario. So let us start with the history. So as you can see in this table, I have taken this table from CEA, Central Electricity Authority report of 2017, and this table shows that the power sector growth plan wise, first plan, second up to 12th plan, and as you can see that when we'll get independence in 15th August 1947. So in 1947 we are having the installed capacity in India is only 1362 or 1362 megawatt, and number of villages electrified is data is not available, or you can see it is negligible or not at all. And the length of transmission and distribution line is also given, and per capita consumption is also given, which is 16 kWh, which is quite low. So after 1947 you can see that gradually this installed capacity is increasing, but still the pace was too low until the 1997, and then, or you can say up to after 1991, that there is a rapid increase in the installed capacity, and right now up to 2017 you can observe that it goes beyond 3 lakh megawatt installed capacity. So this is the power sector growth story. We have started from 1300 megawatt to 3 lakh plus megawatt right now. And this is just one image of one of the thermal power station at the Bokaro thermal power station at Jharkhand, and it's a private one, and it was operationed in from 1953 to 1993, and the fuel use was hard coal. The boiler and this boiler supplier and other suppliers were, of course, BHEL is one of the main suppliers. Then Indian power sector goes for type of fuel use, or the mode wise fuel mode wise is given, and as you can observe that in 1947, out of that 1362 megawatt, the major is of course coal base or thermal power plant is of 756 megawatt. Then 508 is hydro power plant. So hydro is quite comparable to coal at that time, and diesel is 98 megawatt. So total 854 by thermal, and 508 is by hydro. Nuclear and renewable energy is not at all. And gradually you can see right now up to at the end of the 12th plan and in 2017 that 1,92,000 means approximately 2 lakh megawatt is comes from coal only. So what we have started from 700 and up it goes up to 2 lakh megawatt by coal only, then gas, diesel, and then as you can see that from 0 to nuclear goes to 6,700 and renewable energy goes to 57,000, and hydro is also quite high, 44,478 megawatt by hydro. This is the mode wise. Then electricity consumption sector wise is given, and you can observe that of course industrial sector is having 42% of its share in total electricity consumption. Then second one is the domestic sector, which is which consumes 23%. Then the agriculture 17%, commercial 8%, and then traction by 1.66 railway, and the miscellaneous other sectors contribute consumes 6.29%. So this is the electricity consumption scenario, and then electricity consumption per capita. This table compares the electricity on the left hand side. This table shows per capita consumption in kWh in 2013 and 14, and as you can observe that Canada is highest per capita consumption, which is about 15,500 kilowatt hour, and second one is USA, then Australia, and as you can now see that India is 957 and or approximately 1,000 kilowatt hour per capita consumption, and the world average it's so India's consumption is 1/3 of the world average. So as far as electricity consumption per capita, India is still lagging compared to the world average. And on the right hand side this table you can observe that the transmission and distribution, as far as the power sector infrastructure is concerned, the transmission and distribution losses, as you can see that it is again India is having the highest T&D, transmission and distribution losses, which is approximately 25%, 23.65. So you can approximate it at 25%, which is highest. Nobody after that, I think, Brazil having 16%. Then South Africa, so less developed or the developing nation is having the highest T&D, and the developed countries are less than 5 or 5 to 6% only. Then after this energy or electricity scenario of India and the overall growth scenario of India, then we'll see the power sector reforms. Okay, so if you observe this timeline, you can see that in the first the actual reform starts from 1991, and when the first IPP process starts, then 1996 the Orissa Reform Act comes into picture, and this Orissa Reform Act acts as a model power pilot act which actually guided the whole Indian power sector about it acts as a model and this model is then followed by some other states like Rajasthan, and then this finally is incorporated into Electricity Act. And in 1998, the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission Act comes into picture, and as I told you, Regulatory Commission, so the CRC, which is also called as a CRC, and then in 1999, after passing the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, the respective regulatory commissions in many states were established, and distribution and privatization in Orissa takes place, and which is followed by the privatization of distribution in Delhi in 2002. And finally, whatever the outcomes of all these, the Orissa model and Delhi Privatization Act, so everything is then converted into final Electricity Act 2003 for the India. So that this Electricity Act was passed in 10th June 2003. And this is just one the cover snap of this Electricity Act 2003. For the detailed act, you go to Power Ministry's website, where you can read this in detail. So this is having total 120 sections and 185 sections. So this is quite big document. So you just browse through Ministry of Power website. Now I'll just quickly discuss the feature of this Electricity Act 2003, because this is a very important act which actually revolutionized the power sector in India. So first feature of this Electricity Act is generation D license. So thermal generation does not need clearance from CEA. CEA stands for Central Electricity Authority. Only large or interstate hydel project needs this. So generation D license happen, or this is one of the feature of this act. Then setting up of captive generation does not need permission. Captive generation can be set up by a group or society to meet their. So we know that captive generation is you can generate your own electricity and will not no more depend on the electricity boards for the electric supply. So this captive generation is again open up, and anybody can set up this captive generation plant. Then third, transmission utility at the central level will continue to coordinate planning of the transmission network. These utilities or the state government should look after the load dispatch or scheduling of the plant maintenance, etc. So in short, the transmission is still under the state government, but the other private sectors can take or they may use this transmission lines by paying some wheeling charges that we'll see in next few features. And then private companies can build transmission lines for captive use or for common use. This is again in addition to point 3. The fifth is open access. Any generating station will get access to the transmission system at a fee that is called as a wheeling charges. So you can have now the consumer to increase the competitiveness among the distribution or generation companies. This open access feature is floated, and this feature allows the consumer or consumer to choose the from where he wish to take electricity. And of course, but the transmission line is and it may be a state electricity board, so but you have to only pay the wheeling charges for conveying that electricity. We'll see the open access bill in coming slides, where you can get idea about this open access. Then distribution licenses are free to undertake generation, and generation companies are free to undertake distribution. So distribution and generation is the licenses are, the companies are free to do this trading. Then for rural and remote areas, stand-alone systems for generation and distribution are allowed. So we know that in rural areas where it's difficult and it was not that much electrified, so in order to push that the electrification of the rural or remote areas, the standalone generation was allowed, and distribution of this and generation should be managed by panchayat and user association cooperative society. And they without needing the licenses. This is interesting. Next, distribution licenses and state governments do not require licenses to carry out power trading. So power trading is again delicensed. After open access is allowed, consumer can enter into direct commercial relationship with the generating company or trader. Then 10th feature is state government can unbundle SEBs and create companies. All states should have a regulatory commissions. So this is important feature again because then state government can now, instead of having a centralized state electricity board, they can create different generation, transmission and distribution companies. And also all states should have a regulatory commission like Central Electricity Regulatory Commission. State governments have must have their state regulatory commissions like MERC, Maharashtra Regulatory Commission in Maharashtra. Then 11th one is an appellate tribunal will create at the Center for Disposal of Appeals against the decision of CRC and State Electricity Regulatory Commissions. So this is again important thing because appellate tribunals gives the consumers who the forum that where they can have their concern, they can raise their concerns in that forums. And then 12th is strict provisions to deal with the power theft. As we see that transmission and distribution losses in India is one of the highest in the world, that is up to 25%, and the major component of that is the power theft. So strict provision to deal with power theft is incorporated in Electricity Act 2003. Then 13th important tariff. The tariff would be along commercial principles to encourage competition and efficiency. Then multi-layer tariff formulation is suggested with gradual elimination of subsidies because as we know that power industry is one of the highest subsidized industry. So this is again one of the step in that direction to desubsidize this sector. Then metering to be 100% in a few years time. And time of the day tariff to be introduced in a phased manner. So time of the day, which is in short called as the TOD tariff, that we'll see in coming slides what is the TOD and how it is charged. That should be introduced in phased manner. And 14th is the central government would bring out national electricity policy, tariff policy, national policy on standalone systems for rural areas, and national policy on electrification and local distribution in rural area. CA shall prepare national electricity plan. So students, you can browse through this Central Electricity Authority's national electricity plan, where you'll get the total scenario of India's national electricity policy and the tariff policy in detail. So tariff categories, I will just will show you some examples of how tariffs categories are there and how they will charge. So I'm again having this table from the tariff order of Maharashtra Electricity Distribution Company, which is called as the MahaDiscom. Here you can see the category tariff category is LT consumer, but this first table is for summary of LT tariff categories for financial year 1920. And here you can observe that this category is into LT residential below poverty level, LT residential B is for different, again categorized into different consumers with their consumption varies from 0 to 100 to 300. So it is categorized based on the units consumed and the charges accordingly. So there is here you can see that for below poverty level the fixed charge is 25 rupees per month, and energy charges is only 1.1 rupees per kilowatt hour. So total variable charges is 1.1. Then for LT residential consumers, for up to 100 units they'll charge only 3.5 rupees per kilowatt hour, and their rate is fixed charge per month is 90 rupees, which is same for all the categories, but energy charges varies as your unit consumption increases. So for LT residential 300 up to 100 units, If your unit consumption goes beyond 100, then you have to pay by approximately 7 rupees per, and likewise. And for LT non-residential charges, again unit is 6.10 rupees, and the fixed charge is quite high, 390 rupees. And again you can see that LT public or water works, it is 2.15 rupees energy charges. For agriculture up to 5 HP, there is no energy charge. Here you can observe that there is no energy charge for agriculture purpose, but they have to pay a fixed charge of 374 rupees per HP per month. And billing charges 175, so they have to pay 501 per month per HP, and it varies as your HP varies. So this second table explains or gives summary of HT consumers. So here HT industry is the electricity charges are 7 rupees, and the fixed charge is 350. And likewise the different railway, commercial, everything is given. So HT commercial, you can see the very high energy charge, 11.5 rupees per kVA per month. Likewise. Now I will just discuss in brief the electricity bill sample of Mahadiscom, that is a Maharashtra State Electricity Distribution Company Limited. And this electricity bill, this is HT bill format, and here you can see the consumer name, number, name, address is given, bill date, due date is given, then the consumer detail, email ID, mobile, meter number, and then you can see that sanction load in kilowatt is given. In this example it is 930 kilowatt of sanction load, and connected load is 930 kilowatt. Urban or rural, that urban U stands for urban area, and express feeder or not, so this is not no express feeder. Then contract demand in kVA is given, and 50%, 55% of that contract given is also given. Then feeder voltage in kV is also given, and the category, consumer category, I think in the previous slide you can see that the consumer category HT 8A, HT6, HT8B, HT9AB, likewise it is HT8B. So this consumer, this sample is HT8B, so temporary supply, this is for a temporary supply. Now again you can see that at the bottom the billing history is given for the previous 11 months history. So for March, number of units consumed, then February, January, December, November, likewise. So it is given from April of previous month to March of this. So this is the front page of this electricity bill. Now at the back of this electricity bill you can see the first is current consumption detail table, and this table is of kWh, kVAh, kVAh lagging, kVAh leading, kW maximum demand, kVA MD, that is maximum demand. So current and previous, it is current and previous months readings are also given, and the total consumption is given here. Okay, and here the bill demand is given, the recorded bill demand. Then assessed power factor, this is the average power factor of this consumer, which is 0.986, which is good, is given. Then load factor is also given 18, and in consumption type, so industrial, residential and commercial, so it is given that for industrial, number of units consumed, the rate which is it is per unit rate is given, and total electricity or energy charges are given here. Okay. And at the bottom you can see that the TOD zone, which is time of the day, that we have discussed in the feature while discussing the features of Electricity Act 2003. This TOD was mentioned there. This TOD is the time of the day. If you are consuming your electricity between 0 hours to 6 hours, so you will actually get benefit of minus 1.5 rupees per unit, means you will be charged less for your electricity consumption if you are using your electricity between 0 to 6 hours and 22 to 24 hours. Then if you are using from 6 hours to 9 and 12 to 18, then you will not get any benefit. If you are using from 9 to 12 hours, then definitely you have to pay some extra, you will be penalized. And from 18 to 22 hours, you have to pay 1.1 rupees extra per unit of your electricity consumption. On the right hand side, you can see that demand charges is given. Then demand charge is based on the contract demand that you applied for, and you will get sanction. So that is the fixed parameter which will always reflect in your bill. Then wheeling charges, that I told you that these wheeling charges are given, which is 0.57 rupees per unit. So the wheeling charges, then energy charges that you already calculated from your unit's consumption. Then TOD tariff, if some benefit, so this minus 18 shows that they will be get benefited because they are using electricity between these hours. Then electricity duty is also given. Then incremental consumption rate, charges for excess demand is nil here. So this everything is accounted, and final bill will be charged to you. So this is the H2 bill. Then the second bill, this I will quickly show you. This the electricity bill sample, which is for the open access electricity bill. Here this bill is divided into two parts. So the first, this part is about your electricity bill from your SBCL or State Electricity Board electricity consumption, and here you can see that the energy charges and TOD tariff, everything is counted as usual. Then electricity duty, bulk consumption rebate, and all the parameters are taken care of in this electricity bill sample as usual. But the second part of this bill is bill for open access. So open access means the consumer can take electricity from any generator other than the State Electricity Board or his current electricity supplier. So the separate bill is or the second part is about that open access charges. So in that open access, you can see that the electricity MSDCL will not charge you anything for the energy charges because you are not taking electricity from the existing electricity board. So you are only using the infrastructure of that electricity board. That's why you can see that the wheeling charges are applied. These wheeling charges are given to 2,07,000, and cross subsidy charges. It depends upon actually this bill is of solar plus non-conventional. This is addition to your conventional bill. So this cross subsidy charges and additional subcharges are again reflected in this bill. So this is the 13 lakh is your open access bill for open access, and the total amount 7 lakh of electricity board plus 13 lakh from open access is given. The total bill reflected here. Okay. So this is all about the electricity bills. So with this I conclude today's session. I hope in this lecture you understood the total power sector scenario, its timeline from 1947 to till date, then Electricity Act 2003, its features, and electricity bill, various components of this electricity bill in detail, and the open access bill. Okay. So with this I conclude today's section. Thank you all.